Hey, quick story for you here. We've seen it happen more than once here in the Twin Cities. A deal is moving along just fine, and then right before closing, a furnace issue, an electrical concern, or even a roofing question pops up. And suddenly things get stressful. That's exactly why we created our worry-free closing program at Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric. We send a licensed technician out to check the furnace, AC, electrical safety, water heater, and water softener, coordinate a roof evaluation with a licensed roofing contractor, and provide a full report on all the home's major systems. We can do this during due diligence or even before a home is listed, so potential issues get caught early. If you're a realtor or you're buying or selling a home, there's a simple way to keep things smooth. Twin City Heating, Air, Electric, built here, stays here.
From working in his family's Chinese restaurant, to bartending, to becoming present-day owner of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, my father's true superpower is human connection. Now, he's on a mission to capture the most fascinating stories that make up the Minnesota community. You're listening to the Twin City Tales podcast.
Welcome back to Twin City Tales, real people, real stories, right here in the Twin Cities. Today's episode means a lot to me. I've got Grace Lovdahl joining us, our brand ambassador here at Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, and also my daughter, or stepdaughter. And I'll say this up front, I've got a ton of love and respect for who she is and how she shows up, not just in business, but in life. We're going to talk about her journey from growing up in Maple Grove to leadership in swimming, to restaurant world, and now stepping into business and working together. We'll also get into what it's really like working in a family business and bring some real homeowner value along the way. I'm excited for this one. Grace, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I know, this is kind of wild. We had talked about this for a while, but it's hard because we see each other every day almost, and even off work, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
What was it like for you growing up in Maple Grove?
I loved growing up in Maple Grove. I think something that was really cool about when I was growing up there in the early 2000s, it was a lot less developed than it was now. There was actually sand piles everywhere. I used to tell my mom that I thought those were the mountains. And now as an adult, I know that we do not have any of those here in Minnesota. I've seen the real ones. But, as all of that stuff was still developing, it was much smaller community at that point in time. And so I actually got to walk to school every day. I lived a block away from my elementary school, 3 blocks away from the junior high. So I never rode a bus all throughout elementary school and middle school. It's not something you hear as often, I feel like, nowadays, but it was fun. I got to walk to and from school every day. It was safe, friendly. I had other friends in the neighborhood who also did the same thing, so we would walk to and from school together. And I just really remember, growing up in Maple Grove and just having it being a safe neighborhood for growing families. Like, we would walk to the mall or walk to the movie theater or just go anywhere about, and there was just so many activities to do. So it was a really great place to grow up. It was close to the cities, but you still kind of had that suburban, outside of the cities feel. So.
And your mom's a school teacher.
Yes, yeah.
And so when you're in the same school or even the same district kind of thing, and she's awful close, she gets to hear all the things about you, I'm sure. What was that like?
Well, actually, there was never a year that my mom and I were in the same school because she does early childhood special education. But there was a shift in our school districts with our elementary schools, and our schools got split. There was a pre-K through 4th grade or 3rd grade, and then 4 through 6 went to additional school. So the elementary was broken up. So when I was going into 5th grade, I transitioned over to the secondary elementary school, and then my mom came in and started teaching pre-K at the elementary school that I had gone to for kindergarten through 3rd. And she ended up working with a parent of someone who was also in my grade at that point. So like I said, we were walking to and from school. Those elementary schools were a park away from each other. So I would actually walk home with the other teacher's son and their younger daughter. We would walk back to elementary school to meet our parents after school. So I guess I didn't necessarily have her, watching over me in school, which, was probably good or bad. But we did have that experience where we were in the same community for a long time. It was interesting. I was never her student, but it was cool seeing her like in a workspace, because that wasn't something I normally saw from her as a child. Like, she was my mom, so it was interesting seeing her in a work setting versus like at home.
Yeah, easy to take your kid to work day.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes.
But teachers talk. So, one thing about you growing up, though, and knowing you from like when you were 12, 13 on up, you were a pretty good kid. So if it was me and my parent worked at the school, I'd be in a lot of trouble because teachers talk.
Oh, exactly. Yes. Yeah, no, all the trouble came a little later in life. So I think we were good on that front.
And then in high school, I loved going to because you were captain of the swim team, and for about 4 years there, 4 or 5 years, I was going to all your swim meets, and you were like on the varsity team by the time you were like in 7th grade.
Yes, I was on the varsity team by the time I was in 7th grade.
Yeah. And you took the leadership in your senior year.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was a very interesting experience. It's weird because it's like I kind of have a hard time remembering specifics of it, but I was captain with another girl who was a senior who was a very close friend of mine. We had grown up swimming together, so it was really cool working with her. And then the other captain that year was a girl that was a year younger than me, who I also knew very well. We had swam together and also worked together outside of school. And so I feel like what I learned most during that dynamic was just how to work with other people who work differently. Each of the girls who I captained with, of course, with our coaches and stuff, we all functioned very differently. Like on the outside, we are all pretty different people. But both super great girls. But it was interesting working and leading a team with people that thought differently than you do. It wasn't necessarily negative. If anything, it was a positive experience and a learning experience, because at that point in time in my life, I hadn't really been in positions like that before, or necessarily worked with all different types of people, how people function differently. So it was a really cool experience to kind of work around, just experiencing working with people who work differently than I do.
Yeah, and we can mention them by names if you like.
No, I mean,
you don't want to mention their names?
Well, no, it's Cassandra and Lily, and
That's
they're both fantastic women and people that I'm still connected with either on social media. Cassandra was actually at my wedding a couple years ago, and she's still considered a very good friend of mine.
Loved her. She her family owned a restaurant out in St. Paul, if I remember right.
I believe so. Yeah, they're Greek.
And they had some great Greek food so she would bring to some of the parties or when you guys would have the get together.
That was super great. I would go home. I would sometimes go to their house before swim meets, and they'd feed me a huge family meal.
I remember spanakoppitas, those little triangles that they had over at that restaurant.
Okay.
Great Greek food over there. I think I had to drop her off. We had to drop her off at that restaurant one time right after a swim practice or something. I can't remember, but yeah. The restaurant, I don't think it's there anymore. It was over off of Grand Avenue, close to where Dan lives.
Yeah.
Right by the Grand Old Creamery.
Yes, yeah.
Now I'm getting hungry. Grand Old Creamery sounds good.
Yeah.
But doing that, though, the one thing that I saw in you early in life was people liked you. You had that natural magnetism for people. I mean, that and that seems to be like what you've gotten out of that. After being a captain and being able to communicate with people, after you got out of high school, I know you went to the University of Minnesota for a while. I remember you wanted to go to University of Wisconsin, and then you kind of made your choice to University of Minnesota.
That wasn't by choice.
I had a friend, Jake Parsley, tell me that they're lucky that they're lucky that you're lucky that you didn't go to Wisconsin, because who wants to be a Badger? But
that's what I've heard. I think Joe Weiner, our operations manager, would disagree. But yes, no, I think at the end of the day, I'm I'm satisfied with the experience I had at the U, even though I had worked to go to Madison for so long. But yeah, I don't have any regrets on that.
Yeah. But I think some of that experience that you had at the U created also who you were. What are some of the things you learned leaving the U?
Oh, so many things. I realized school wasn't necessarily my jam. That was definitely the first thing that I learned. Um, but I think similar to what I said about swimming, I was able to meet so many different people, so many people from different cultures, different homes, just different backgrounds, and feel like I think about some of the people I was friends with in college, who I may or may not be still in contact with at this point, but they taught me a lot about how to just be accepting of all different types of people, regardless of their background, what their opinions are, whether that's different than your own, and how we can all navigate that and accept each other and still bond over friendship or, love or experience while coming from different places. And I think that was the biggest thing I learned there. I made a lot of really amazing friends, and some of my best friends are still from college, but I think it was just a really cool experience. Meeting so many different type of people is just eye-opening, because people are coming from different states or different countries, different times in their life, changing from other schools, and so it was just a really cool experience to see all that diversity. The U of M is an incredibly diverse campus for the most part, and so it was really cool to just meet a lot of different types of people and to experience more of the world.
And the thing about that is too, I feel like you're on this journey of just being so people orientated,
Yeah.
right? And I love one of your passions is you want to help nonprofits. So you go into a lot of things without judgment, which kind of, as I see your journey roll through, at that point, you started working in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
Like me, I grew up in the restaurant business and I ended up doing a lot of restaurant stuff. With that, what did that teach you about dealing with people being in the restaurant the industry?
Oh boy. So many things. I have to say, and I know a lot of people say it, but I think there is so much value for every single person to experience working in the restaurant industry or any sort of customer service position where you are in front of other people and you are serving them. That is quite literally the title of your job, is to serve them. And continue to learn so many things, because I actually still serve on the side every once in a while. It's been one of my favorite jobs I've ever had, and it's something I will probably continue to do because I truly enjoy it. But similar to college, just navigating people, learning how to accept people when they're coming from a different spot, or just when you're serving someone in a restaurant, you're only getting them for a small portion of their day or their time, and so you don't really know what they're going through at that point, what they're celebrating, wins, losses. You don't necessarily know what's going on in their head, but you have to make it the best experience, and respect them as much as possible while respecting the restaurant that you work in as well. And so you just have to be able to navigate, sometimes people don't want to chat with you. Sometimes they want to chat all day long. Sometimes they have a lot of questions, and sometimes they have particular needs, like dietary needs or whatever it be. And you have to just be able to navigate through those conversations, whether that be someone who doesn't really want to talk to you and, they're on a date or something and they don't really want to be bothered, or if it's, a family couple, they're celebrating something and they want to tell you all about what they're celebrating. Just navigating the ups and downs of that and how to still be able to be your best, give your best to others, while dealing with all different sorts of people, all different sorts of situations. I think one of the stories that it will always have a special place in my heart, and is just, I hope that I was able to make this a good experience for them. But I was actually working, it was not that long ago, it was actually last summer. I work at a restaurant in Long Lake, Birch is on the Lake. It's fantastic, supper club, and they have brewery there as well. And my very last table out on the patio, I have to admit, it was the end of my evening. I was very ready to go home by that point. I was basically all wrapped up, but just kind of waiting for my last remaining tables to finish up and head out. But a couple came in last minute and they said, we would love to have something to eat. I said, the kitchen is still open for a small amount of time. Let's get something going for you guys. They sat down. We got their order in. They weren't super chatty by any means. But I got them going, made sure that everything was gonna go through the kitchen for them because the kitchen was gonna close sooner rather than later. And we got their food out to them, and the woman stopped me when I dropped off her food, and she stopped me and said, thank you so much for allowing us to be here, and for serving us, and we know we came in a little late, but it said that you guys were open. Today was a really, really hard day for me. I believe that I don't know if it was the funeral or the day of passing for a parent of hers. The woman who was there, her parent had passed away recently, or that day, and had been dealing with that grief journey, and she kind of started she started tearing up, and she just was thankful that she was able to enjoy her meal in peace outside by the fireplace with her husband after a really long day. And I don't mean to say that to my own horn or the restaurants, but I just it was just such a special experience that I was really grateful that she shared that with me, so that I could make that experience as special as possible and as comforting as possible for them. And it's just, those are kind of examples of the experiences that you see out in the restaurant industry. You can get the very opposite. I've served people on their wedding day. It's the happiest day of their life, and they're chatty, and everyone's smiling. And then I've also worked funerals or celebrations of life, and so it's just you have to be able to navigate all of those different nuances, but still put your best forward, and still do the best for your customers and your restaurant at that point in time.
Oh, for sure. And before I get into the next part, I want to bring back some of my friends that are listening from that time era, right? Like all that era, right on that lake, because Birch's was not always Birch's, right?
No.
It was Billy's.
Yep.
And when I was younger, that's where we would go and party at times.
I heard that's the place to be. There's plenty of people that come in and still ask, was this the old Billy's? And then it was also previously Buckhorn's restaurant as well. They serve some really awesome fried chicken. So yeah, it's a really fun place. It's kind of stood the test of time through a handful of different restaurants, and it is a really good place. So if you ever get the chance and you're in Long Lake, I'd definitely stop by.
I've been there a couple times after the Billy's, but I was probably at Billy's more when I was in my 20s.
Oh, boy.
Drinking. I really didn't go there for dinner much back in those days, but what a great place. And, going back to giving people that experience as a server, mm-hmm. and that's the one thing that I feel like has really put you in a great position of being a brand ambassador for Twin City Heating and Electric, because I'm really proud of that. But it's the experience that you give people. It's the experience that you create for the brand of Twin City Heating and Electric. How do you feel like all those experiences really put you in that position?
Yeah, I think honestly I've probably learned the most from my restaurant experience, just being in customer service, like I said, working with so many different types of people, not only the customers, but on the back end, the people working in the restaurant. So I think that's really just given me the skills I need to talk to all different types of people. When I first started networking, I was so nervous walking into any room. I typically was on the younger end of people that were in the room. I also felt like I didn't know what I was talking about, especially when it came to the more technical nuances of heating and air, or especially like electrical and water treatment and stuff like that. But I feel like being in customer service, I've really just learned ways to listen in a conversation, and ways to engage in a conversation with anybody, whether that be a stranger, someone I've maybe met someone who knows of our company but doesn't know me directly, or someone that I'm very, very well connected with, I feel like I'm able to keep a conversation engaging and keep it going. And just I think the biggest thing I've learned from that is like you just need to listen to the other person. Not just that like people like to hear themselves talk or anything like that, but there needs to be a meaningful part of a conversation. And I think maybe just turning on those listening ears a little bit more, listen for those triggers. What is it that this person needs, or what are they maybe subtly asking you, or what are they telling you that might be indirect, that you could help them with, or that you could be a resource for them, for their client, or whatever that may be. How you just need to listen for what they're saying, because sometimes people aren't necessarily direct, especially in the business world. That I feel like people, sometimes it's hard to have a direct ask, to ask them for something. But I feel like if you listen, most people like have an intent behind a conversation, and so just make sure that you turn those on, listen to those cues, those triggers. What can you help them with? That's my favorite way to go about a conversation. It's not what can you give to us or what can you give to Twin City, but how can I help you? How can I be a resource for you? Not necessarily me, but our company or our technicians or our resources. Is that volunteer time? Is that more information about X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. Just turning on those listening skills and just listening deeper to the conversation, and not making it about what you need in that conversation, but making it about how you can help that person. And I think that's been one of the biggest things I've learned through customer service. And then on the other side, becoming a recently new homeowner, I feel like I understand the client side of the business development too. And when we're talking of more the B2B relationships with other local contractors or realtors or whatever it may be, I feel like I have that aspect of what are they looking for, or what are their clients looking for from them from a homeowner's perspective. I feel like I can bring a little bit more of that now that I am owning my own home and have gone through the mortgage process, the home inspection process, repair process, and all that. And so as a homeowner, I've really realized people like working with people they like and they trust. And so I feel like being able to find the people that you like and trust, or being able to be a resource for clients and say like, hey, I know someone who does this really, really well. They're going to take really good care of you. And listening for those triggers, that's a great way that you can be a connector, is what, they call it in this business. And, it's not necessarily always about passing direct business, but who can help you get to your next client? Who can help your clients that you have currently with another need? I feel like that's really important, and that's something that I've really leaned into this role.
Yeah, and what's amazing about what you've started doing in that role is that, I was in the networking group, Northwest Suburban. It was a B&I group, and I kind of stepped away from it. But we put you in that position probably like 3 years ago?
4 years, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, it's been that long.
Yeah.
Holy buckets, I'm getting old. But and I still have connections in that group because I talk to them on a regular basis, and they say you're killing it. They're like, you really took it over. What was the challenge? Now, this is going to get more in the family thing. Or did you feel like it was a challenge, or did you think, what was the challenge of you stepping into my role there?
Yeah.
And was it challenging, or was it like, man, that Wymond's so refreshing to have somebody different here in the group? What was those challenges?
Well, they love to pick jokes at you all the time, but no, in all seriousness, they really respected and appreciated you. I think you bring something different than I do. with all of your experience in this field, you really can dive deep on the technical side. Our process in and out when it comes to pricing, installation, repair, and you can provide more of that. And I think while the transition was easy for different reasons because you are so well liked and respected, it naturally kind of trickled down to me. But I think in that same regard, I also had to earn individual respect and likeness from those people as well, because and I consider all of them friends of mine at this point, and I would hope they would say the same about me. But I feel like I had to build that up over time because I really came in and I was Wymond's kid, which was not like I said, not a negative thing by any means. You're so well liked that it was automatically people are like, well, you're going to be great because Wymond's great, which is a testament to you. But I feel like I also had to establish myself as an individual in that part. How can I, as Grace, be a resource for you guys? Not meaning that your relationship with Wymond is over, because it's obviously not. You talk to those people all the time, sometimes maybe more than I do, even though I'm still in a networking group with them. But how can I also add value to their relationship with Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric beside Wymond, because I don't have those same skill sets that you do. I've learned a lot of the technical, and I have to say I'm proud of myself on that side because it was incredibly confusing at the start. I didn't know the difference between the different coils, stages of furnace. I could go on and on. But I do know the basics of that. But I mean, when it comes to the nitty gritty of the technical things, from some of our contracting partners where they want to have a little bit more of a technical conversation, I can't necessarily provide that. So they still go to you. But I had to build a way, like, how can I be resourceful for them? And like I said, I hope that I've been able to build as more of a connector or a community presence. Like, how can I assist you with your clients? How can we provide extra value and resources for you, whether that be homeowner education, connecting you with potential clients or other companies that could be good partners for you. But I had to kind of build my own footing in the networking space aside from being Wymond's daughter or just being an employee of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric. I had to find my own value that I could bring to those things, and I'm still learning that. But I'm hoping that the relationship building and the community building aspect, that's what I've been striving to bring into it at this point. So,
well, the thing about you is that or any of our, and we can tell a lot of stories about Dan too, but Dan's learned never to play like the coach's son or never work like the owner's daughter. And you've proven yourself over and over again in that, because people will tell me that. I jokingly tell them, well, thank you for telling me that because you just saved her job for another week.
Yeah.
But in all reality, I say that very tongue-in-cheek and jokingly, because with your passion of like building communities, and I know one of your other passions is nonprofit. You really do advocate for the people that maybe can't advocate for themselves. And I feel like with your position here as brand ambassador, community outreach, it fits you, and that's what makes it such a great fit. Seeing that, what else would you like to see more of? Because I feel like one of your biggest passions that we have here every year is when we do the Feel the Love program.
Yeah.
And where does that come from in your heart, do you feel like?
I've always just wanted to help people. I originally went to the U of M and had wanted to go down the pre-med track. I was in the biological school of sciences, and I had wanted to be a doctor. And I kind of say now, in my naive brain as a younger person, I thought that was the best way to help people, is to be a doctor. And it is, quite frankly, one of the best ways that you can help people, but it is not the only way that you can help people. And so I that's something that's been really amazing about my role here, and the opportunities that you and the executive team at this company have given me. I've been able to shape this role into something that is meaningful for me, and the part that is really meaningful for me is helping others, helping the community, helping those who can't advocate for themselves, and you guys have allowed me to engage in that, work with nonprofits, whether that be donations, volunteer time, setting up a booth, anything like that, or Feel the Love, which has been probably my favorite of all those projects that we've worked on. So Feel the Love is a nonprofit organization that's run through the Lennox manufacturing company. Lennox created this nonprofit organization each year. Lennox dealers across the U.S. and Canada can choose to participate in the Feel the Love event. What happens is all across the U.S. and Canada, they take public nominations for the community, and you can nominate anyone in your community who may be in need and could benefit from a new HVAC system completely free of charge. What happens then is the dealers that choose to participate, they are able to choose which nominations they are able to serve. And then in the fall each year, dealers across the U.S. and Canada go out on a weekend and install new furnaces or air conditioners for families. Or both. They install new equipment for families in need on a weekend, volunteer time, and all of the equipment is completely donated by Lennox through this program. So there's thousands of families and households that get served each fall through this program. Our company has been honored to be a participant for the last eight or so years.
I think we've been doing it for even 10 years, ever
10
since we
years now?
revamped the 2016.
Yeah. So we've been doing, this will be our 10th year of doing it. And it's just really, it's really so special for so many different reasons. One of the things is each year we get a lot of nominations, and there's nominations that go around nationwide, but there's so many nominations. Unfortunately, there are usually more nominations than we can serve. And I love to see that, because that means that the community is out there thinking of others, thinking of their neighbors or their friends or their family who are in need and who could benefit from a free HVAC system. And so I love to see that every year. I wish, we could service all of them every year, but maybe we'll get there one day. The other beautiful thing about it is I get to see the participation from our team, specifically at Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric. I've been here for 4 years now. This will be my 4th or 5th Feel the Love this coming fall.
You've also been involved for the last, since 2012, since I've met your mom.
It's been a long time.
You get to hear the stories all the time.
I do get to hear all the stories. It's been a longer journey than 4 years. Yeah. This will be my 4th or 5th Feel the Love that I've participated in as an employee. The cool thing I've seen every single year that I've been a part of Feel the Love is we get 80 to 95% of our staff out at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. They all actively know that this is volunteer time. We are not clocking in. And they sign up to do it, and it's just so amazing to see the hearts of the people that we have in this company. There's been some turnover in those last few years, but even the new employees and the past employees that we've had, they have all been just as dedicated to this movement as the entire executive team is, and as our family is with this movement. And it's so cool to see that this company is so involved in that and has such a huge heart for giving back to the community. That's my other favorite part of it, is just seeing how amazing our staff is and how much they are willing to do for those around us. It's a lot to ask to take half of your Saturday off unpaid to go do work that you do Monday through Friday. But we've even got some of our office staff out to on an install. You know, they've never experienced an installation before, but they're out there getting their hands dirty, helping, learning, and it's just such a cool experience. And then, of course, the families that we get to serve, they've been so incredibly happy. One of my favorite stories, honestly, and I wasn't even a part of this one. We had a staff member from this company pass away a handful of years ago. Someone who was very near and dear to our hearts. Someone who had been here for a long time, and she passed away, and left a husband that was living, and he had come upon hard times after that, and we actually were able to install a new system free of charge for him. 1 year for Feel the Love, and I think that's just so special. We were able to help someone in our community, but someone also in our community that means so much to us. And I just think it's a really amazing thing. It's an amazing thing that Lennox has done, that our company has, gratefully participated in each year. And it's, a really special part of my job.
Yeah, and I feel really blessed to be a part of that too, and having that opportunity. The one I remember was the family that had, the wife had cancer, and she could not work basically for the last 8-9 years, and we were able to help them with a furnace and AC, and they were just so grateful. And I think your mom actually brought flowers to them, and it was just, that was really touching to me. And then the other thing that we do, the few years ago where we did a couple of them, we ended up doing it for Hammer, because it's one of those places, in case you don't know what Hammer is, it is a nonprofit that helps adults with intellectual disabilities. And one of the things that's special in our hearts is your uncle, Mickey, is in one of those homes. And, he's such a sweet guy. And it's so special to see that in this day and age, too, as I believe the economy and the funding is getting cut for it. These homes are needing more and more help from people that are able to do that, whether it's volunteer time or money resources. It's really huge, and that's what really brings joy to me in what we do as a company, that we're able to do that.
It's more than just heating and air. I've really thought of it more as comfort and safety. All of the services that we provide are regarding your home comfort and safety. So it's not, it's about providing that in your home, so that you can feel secure in your comfort and safety in your home, that you will be comfortable and safe regardless of the season, of the time of year, of what's going on. It's more than just equipment. It's not, I don't think of it as a refrigerator or a microwave installation. It is something that affects your day-to-day life, and how you feel within your own home. And so it is so important, and advocating for those who may not be able to afford it at the time, or advocating for just those in need of those types of services is something that's so important that we do. It's not just heating and air and electrical and water treatment. It's comfort and safety that we're providing to a community.
Yeah, and for me, it really is about what is really Twin Sea Heating and Air. I don't want to make this into, it's not a commercial. It really is about, yes, I hold our master's license, and I know the thing. But as I've gotten through the years as a business owner, Twin Sea Heating and Air is just the vehicle to carry us to what we can do good in the society. And I don't mean we're doing good in society by putting in heating and air, right? I think part of the doing good in society is providing great jobs with benefits for our team members, being able to do the Feel the Love program every year, right? Supporting other local businesses with this podcast, because I feel like by letting people tell their stories on this podcast, it helps them create their story for their business and why we should be buying local. Because I really truly care about our Minneapolis community, right?
I think that's something that's really special about us too. Is we do everything in our power to support other local businesses. Nothing against any of the larger companies in our area; they're all fantastic. But I think there is so much power to small businesses coming together, partnering together, finding ways to support each other. Whether that just be liking something on Facebook or sharing it on your own business page or your personal page, to showing up at their events, donating. Talking about their services to your clients and your community or your friends and family, just spreading the word about who they are and the good that they do for their community and their people. There's just so much power behind that. I think community, that's my other big driver is I want to be able to give back, but I also want to be able to build a really strong community that can trust each other, rely on each other for help, in their time of need, or just be there for each other to support and lift each other up. There's so much business for all of us to do. So even other local HVAC, electrical, or water treatment companies, I love talking to them and working with them, finding ways that we can work together and support each other, lift each other up. There's always enough work to go around, and I think something I've learned, just a plug to BNI, that one of their core values is givers gain. And that's something that I've really, really latched on to in this role, is I truly believe that if you put good out in the world, that good will come back to you in business or in your personal life. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, it may be 10 years from now, but it will come back to you if you continue putting that good out in the world. So I love being able to support other local businesses, to help lift them up, to help them grow, and to just, build a really strong community in this area.
That's the beauty of you being in that seat, the strength of you being our business development person along with brand ambassadoring. I can't see a better seat for you anywhere. I mean, this is, we're truly blessed to have you in that position. It's one of those things. Working with families a little different. So let's talk about working on a family business a little more, because it's not always easily talked about, and I gotta admit, I'm very blessed to be able to do that. I don't think there's a lot of people. I mean, there's a few family businesses out there, and we hear some nightmares, we hear some good stories, but in all reality, I don't think if I'm working for, I don't know, another a company as a service tech, I don't have that opportunity to be able to work with family members a lot of times, right? Or actually have that interaction with them like that, because usually they'll work, if you work at a restaurant, one's a server, maybe the other one's a dishwasher, right? Hard to say, or a cook.
Yeah.
You still have interactions, but not the decisions or not the direction that we can take something, right?
Yeah.
What's something that you learned working together that you didn't expect?
That's a really good question.
You want me to answer mine first for you?
Sure.
So I always knew you were a very good connector with people. And even though we're not blood related, you're my stepdaughter, we have so much in common, I think, in our personalities, right?
Yeah.
And was a pleasant surprise to me, because I feel like with your connection and how you connect with people is amazing. And the other thing that I did not know about you is when you are on something, like you have an idea or you want to put out something, you're kind of a pit bull about it. Like, this is your passion. And that's the one thing I learned about you that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
So that's you're very passionate about it. If you put your mind to something, it's like there's no stopping Grace. That's all I know.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I mean, I think in a similar regard, kind of what I said about being a captain and stuff, I knew that we were different people, and I knew that we operated very differently. I knew that going into, and even with Dan, I work really closely with Dan as well, my brother, and I know that the three of us all operate very differently, but what I didn't, and please don't take this as an insult by any means. It's very much a compliment, but you kind of thrive on chaos. But for some reason, you are still able to, you have everything in your mind and you have your ducks in a row and you still know where everything's at, even though it's very different than how I would organize anything or probably how Dan would, but that's how you operate. You operate, you like being busy, you like having a lot of things going on, but you're still able to stay on top of all of the different things that you're doing, and that just amazes me because I know you've got a million things going on. You do a million things every week, go to networking meetings, go to games, hang out with your friends, do stuff for work. And so I think it's truly amazing because I think people always say to me in networking meetings, like, oh, Wymond, he's so busy all the time. And you are really busy all the time, but you're able to get what you need to done. And maybe it's a little chaotic, but it just amazes me because, like I said, I what I learned about myself working here is that there are certain things that I need set in place for myself. I need somewhat of a routine. I need to kind of know what my goals are for the day or what it is that I want to accomplish and, what I'm looking forward to. I need it to be, I'm not a completely type A person, but I'm somewhere in between. I like a little bit of structure here and there, and just amazes me that you're able to work like that, but be who you are for everybody. You're support for every person on our team. You're the right-hand person of all of our executive team. You're kind of the second call if anyone needs anything. And at any, position here, you are in a million networking meetings and committees or whatever it is. And you're a father, you're a husband, and you do it all. And it really amazes me how you're able to do it all. I don't know how you do it, but
I appreciate that. Yeah. I wasn't sure. I kind of I feel like from my lens, it was like, she's just say you're a mess, but a controlled mess. or man, you're like Brett Favre. You just sling it all over the place. Whatever sticks. But I think there's a certain amount of that. And that's why I think people like Stephanie Havel or even Rachel Edwards, they have those programs to understand the other person's dynamic. Because that's where I feel like we've gotten to learn how each other works and how we have to step into that spot to make it work. Such as, I know you're more of an organized person, and I'm very chaotic sometimes. I know sometimes I have to step that back and go, okay, I can't throw a bunch of stuff at her. I got to let her process certain things. I think another good example, and I've talked about on the show before, Dan and I think completely different, but we can get along as long as we started understanding each other. I got to stop and listen to what he says and process. And if I say something to him, instead of going, we need to do this, and that, and he's just like, are you nuts? All that things aren't going to work, right? But if I go, okay, we need to do this, and then let him process it through, I'm still learning to do that, obviously, but I got to stop and listen to him process it through before I can throw another thing at him. And I think you and Dan are somewhat like that. But the funny thing is, I push a lot of things quickly. I think that's what moves the ball fast, but it doesn't make everything clean and it makes everything chaotic. But you guys are the ones that will stabilize it, make the action work, and actually move the ball forward at a cleaner level. It might not move as fast sometimes, as fast as I'd like to go sometimes, but it does move things forward.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
And I think it kind of all comes together. I think it's really about navigating, working with people, people working to their strengths, and then also working with different types of people. I've heard you say it multiple times. something that you've learned throughout business is that you can't do it all. You have to have people in place under you who are, good at processes, or, you have Pata who's doing all the accounting stuff, all the numbers and the crunching and the reports. And you have to have people under you that can support your vision. And yes, so that you are able to spitball all of your ideas, but then the rest of us can take it and be like, okay, this is what's going to work, this is what's not, or what are we going to move forward? And I think you've learned that. And I think the other part that I've really learned in this is how to navigate, our relationships as a family, and then on the business end, and balancing that. I think that was something that was probably hard for all of us at the beginning, is like, when we're talking, are we talking as employees? Are we talking as your kids? And sometimes within the same conversation, that will go back and forth multiple times. And so how do we navigate, what's appropriate for right now? How do we set up boundaries for each other? How do we talk to each other and let each other know, this isn't working for me, or this is working for me, or could we do this better? And I feel like I've learned, not only how to communicate with you guys better, but just to communicate with people in general, and especially people that you work very closely with, and do life very closely with as well. I think it's you have to navigate those challenges, and there are always going to be challenges in that, or disagreements or whatever. But I think something that especially the three of us have all really learned is that we just need to talk about it with each other. Just be open, be transparent, be respectful of each other, our roles, what we do here, because we all do very different things here, but, come together and kind of meet on a common ground and have a conversation that's productive, and, making sure that we are putting up boundaries if needed between personal and the business side of work, or, having separate conversations about those different types of things. But I feel like that's something we've learned, and you've learned too throughout business, just like working with all the different people that work here, all their different personalities, and how they can fit into this business, and how we can all work together towards the same mission with all of our different strengths.
Yeah, it's putting people in the right seats. But going back to that part where working together, I think one of the struggles that I've had, and you've seen it through the years, and I've probably recognized it more the last few years, is like, it's nonstop, like, talk about work when we're at home, Christmas functions, birthday celebrations, even just a relaxing day, going vacation. I seem to have talked about work a lot in the last 10 years, right? 15 years. Like, it just never stops for me, right? Even when we went to Wisconsin, when we first met, we went to Wisconsin, I'm still thinking and talking about work. But the one thing that I think I've done the last 3 years, and hopefully other business owners get a feel of what that is like, or even push themselves to be able to do it, is I've really made it a point not to talk about work at family functions.
Yeah.
If I'm out and about with you guys for dinner, or we're celebrating a birthday, or celebrating something, or Christmas, I really, and it's hard. It really is at the beginning, but it's starting to get a lot easier. Like, if I go down that road, like, I'm thinking about it, especially when you guys are working with me there.
Yeah.
I feel like I got to tell you something, right? I gotta tell you something about work. I got to talk about this. So that's really helped me. And I feel like the funny thing is, you two have started talking a little bit about work at the dinner tables now, but it's part of who we are. I think it's human nature, right? We talk about what's kind of on our mind, right? So, and you guys care.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I
think we all care a lot about our job, but yeah, I think it has gotten, we've been able to put up that boundary, like, outside of work, just to be more conscious about not having those conversations, or setting aside specific time for those conversations, whatever it may be. But yeah, you just have to have a balance.
Yeah, that's huge. And of course, perception when you guys were younger, right? Like, I do like this a little bit better, because I know when you guys were younger, it's like, probably when I started talking about business or work, you'd be like rolling your eyes going, oh my God.
Yeah.
Come on, just get it over with. Get it out of your system. So yeah, the one thing that I'm also impressed by you is, And that's why I feel like you're such a good, this is such a good role for you because you can adjust all the time. Like you, and this is going to be kind of a curveball, but it's so true because you went into this position not really knowing a lot about heating and air, not even knowing what networking was until you got into it. But I'm going to correlate that with you actually taught yourself guitar while growing up.
Yeah.
And so learning how to do that and really um pushing yourself through that, what made you want to learn to do that, like when you were younger, learning how to guitar? Because I feel like part of that is what you're kind of doing today too.
Yeah. I guess I've just kind of always had that creative side. I went to a camp once where it was like a week-long camp, so I took like 2 guitar lessons and kind of learned the basics. And then I don't remember exactly why I had gotten into it. I had already played piano at that point. And then I later on ended up singing at church a lot. I don't really know why I started doing that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I have I like teaching. I like learning new things, and I like teaching myself things. I think what I can attribute it to most now is that I can remember is like I'm really big into crafts, and I love that's like a creative outlet for me outside of work and in my personal life. And I feel like I see a video online now of like some craft or whatever, and then I kind of like I get my idea rolling, but like I don't follow necessarily like the instructions. Like I'm going to be like, okay, well, I want to do it a little bit this way, or I want to do it differently because I would like it to look that way. And so yeah, I feel like if when I am really passionate about something or something I'm super interested, I do I like to teach myself new things, and that's something that I've experienced here. I've worked through I think 5 roles here. I think I've had 5.
Yes. You've done a lot of different things here.
HR, payroll, accounting, collections, call center, permits, inspections, marketing, and now business development, brand ambassador.
Event coordinator.
And I've been doing event coordinating as well. And so, yeah, just a lot of things. But I think there's the thing that I like most in my position now, and from experiencing all the other positions in our company is like I really understand this company from like start to finish, from the very first contact, whether that be you find us on Google or you were referred to us by a friend, all the way through the process to the end, even after the bill's collected and we're sending you your receipt. I could probably tell you that process start to finish, not necessarily in the most detail, especially when it comes to like an installation or whatever, but start to finish, I know what what they call the customer journey, what the customer journey would be from the majority of our customers. And I think now that I'm out in the community representing our business, talking about our business, getting people interested in our business, seeing how our business can help homeowners, it allows me to talk about our business at all different lengths, all the things that make us different, not just the type of equipment we install or the price of our equipment, because like I said, I think people really like to work with people they like and trust. It's not necessary. For some people, they want it's about brand or price, but not all people. I think some people do care a lot about, who is this company? Are they local? Is it benefiting the community? Just some of those other nuances, like we have live operators and just some of those small things within our company and within our process that I can share with people that does make us different. And I know what the expectation should be for a customer, going through that entire journey through as a customer in our system. So I think that gives me a lot of power as far as like telling customers what they can expect and how that might be different from a different provider that they've used before.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit because you are really amazing at doing what you do with the branding, the business development. And this is the question that I'm going to put you on the spot with because I had to learn this, and I learned this probably in the last 2 years here. What's the difference between marketing and business development or brand ambassadoring, do you feel?
Oh, there's a lot. Marketing is a very loose term. When it comes to marketing, there's so many different avenues. There's digital, which digital in itself branches off into a million things: social media, reels, paid advertisement. Marketing, I feel like, is just kind of an overarching word for how are you putting your company out there for people to find you. There are so many specific ways that you can market your company. When it comes to business development or brand ambassador, I feel that the business development side is more about, just to say it plainly, how can we develop our business? But to me, it's how can we develop our business in this community? And that's not necessarily like how can we attain more customers or attain new customers, but how can we fit into this community? How can we grow with this community? How can we support this community? How can they support us? How can we benefit the people in this community? I feel like that's more of business development, not necessarily specific on the products or services that we're providing people, but as a company, how are we growing in this area and how are we benefiting the people that we serve, or just community members in general. And then I feel like the brand ambassador side is more showing people who we are as a company. Like, again, it's not about products or services for me or pricing. I feel like in something I've learned, I've been trying to meet with other business development professionals in other industries, since this is a new role for our company, so I can learn what does business development or brand ambassador mean in other industries. A lot of the things that I've heard, it's more of a sales role, almost a salesperson. But I really don't look at my role for this company in that way. Yes, it is selling, but I think of it more as selling our company, letting them know who our company is as a whole. I don't necessarily talk about like the manufacturers that we use. Of course, there are people that is a benefit for them, or something that draws them to a purchase is what type of equipment is being installed and for what price. But I really like talking about who we are as a company. Like I said, how are we different from other providers? What are those extra things that we do for our customers? What are the things that we do for our community? How can we get involved in the community, or how can our company help you as a homeowner, or just get involved in the community, but just showing them who we are as people, and as a company, not just what it is that we're selling to them.
Yeah, and as a business owner, and I didn't realize the importance of marketing, and business development and brand ambassadoring. In all reality, what I said earlier was I've really just learned like the difference between marketing and business development is the biggest difference is marketing is really digging into the numbers, really making sure that the research is there to drive a company's messaging the correct way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's about the messaging. It's about it's about how we're showing up, in ads, and really creating the numbers to make sure it supports what we're spending our money on in our advertising, right?
Yep.
Like that's I think is marketing now that I've learned it, right? Because I used to think marketing, Wymond marketed. I just went out and did all this networking, shook a lot of hands and kissed a lot of babies and get people to like. But I think you need a combination of both at a high level, because with you as a business development, and we've talked about this many times, where your job is to really be the person out in our community that's approachable, that makes Twin City Heating and Air and Electric feel like I know somebody there. I'm personable with Grace.
Yeah.
Grace knows who I am. I know Grace is someone I know and trust, and she's tied in with a company that's very trusted. Their people are trusted because she's a big part of that company, and that's why I feel like a lot of companies need a really good brand ambassador, business development person to be able to be that community resource.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's I feel like I've been seeing a little bit more of it in some of the local, like especially trades industry companies. But yeah, there I think there's such a power, especially for a hyper local small company like ours. We only have 20 some employees. We serve, a 7 county area. But that's only a small section of our entire state. In reality. And so I think being known, being present in the community, even being present, at kids events or at the local resource fair or whatever expo is going on, just being present with that community, I think it drives so much more meaning for them rather than just seeing an ad on Google. Not that there's a time and a place for all of that. The Google advertisement and any sort of paid advertisement online is incredibly powerful, but I think depending on what the business is, when you do have such a small, hyper-local market, we have a lot of competition. There's a lot of HVAC, electrical, and water treatment companies in this area. We've kind of been honing in on certain parts of the metro, and I think with going with that strategy, having you and I in this place where we are networking, certain people are probably seeing you and I twice per week each. So that's, 4 touches with Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric just in general, seeing what we're doing out in the community and getting to know who we are as people. I think there's just such a value and a power in that, especially for a local business with a smaller market. Just getting to know the people that you serve, getting to understand what their needs are, what they're looking for from you, because like being a server, we are here to serve you. Of course, we have to make sure that we're protecting our employees and our company as a whole, but at the end of the day, our goal is to serve our customers. So how are we supposed to know what we're doing wrong or how we can improve and be even better for our customers if we're not asking them, if we're not interacting with them, if we don't know them face to face? I think there's just a lot of power, a lot of knowledge, a lot of learning that you can do to build a better business that will serve your customers better if you're out there meeting with them, talking to them, talking with the other companies that see your customers and what their experiences are. I think it's done a lot for our company. I've seen it happen with other local companies. And again, like not that there's anything against any sort of digital media, but if you are in a small area, a local, a small or like a hyper local area, get out there and meet your people and see what they need and just get to know them. It's not even I think when you go out and networking, when the first year I thought it was okay, you're going out there and the result is to get jobs out of it. But the reality in networking and business development and relationship and community building is it takes time. And it should take time because, like I said, people like to work with people they know and trust. Getting to know someone and getting to like a person especially can take time. I mean, of course, there's always going to be those people, and honestly, you're one of them. People meet you and they're like, I love Wymond. I've met you for 30 seconds and now you're my best friend. But for the majority of people, that takes time. And so really taking the time to get to know people outside of business. How are your kids? What's going on in your life? Did you moved recently? How was that? How was the vacation you went on? That all goes to show the person you are inside, which ideally leads back to the type of person you are in business. And so, stick with it. I've really learned that in this type of role, you need to be consistent as much as possible. That doesn't mean texting someone every week or every day by any means. You don't want to bother them, but just making sure that you're staying top of mind, that you're thinking of them as well. How can, what's been going on in their life? How can I help them? Maybe they just hit a major milestone and you want to just congratulate them and reach out and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. Hope everything is well. It's not always going to be a sales pitch, and you're not always going to get an immediate job or revenue behind it. And to be honest, that's never my goal. It's about building that relationship, and down the line, hopefully you'll view me as a resource and and then maybe think of me for your friends and your neighbors or whatever. But like I said, all of that takes time, and you have to be consistent, and you have to, I think most of the best relationships I've had, especially with other referral partners, are when I do dive in a little bit deeper about their personal life. I mean, you have to respect people's boundaries. Not all people want to talk about that with you. So you have to find what's appropriate for them. But it doesn't always have to be about how's it going in business? Right. How are you going in business? Right. How can we help each other? How can I give you something back and forth like that? It can be a lot more casual and a lot more friendly and human than that.
Yeah, let me add to that a little bit. Yeah, I love what you said about, like, you can like somebody in 30 seconds, because it's true, you can. Yeah. It's not the like that people buy on. I feel like it's a trust. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that takes time, is trust. Mm-hmm. You can't just trust somebody in a matter of minutes. Yeah. There's certain traits that they can present to you that you can trust, but that trust building takes time. Yeah. And I think that's the key. I think it's all works in tandem, right? You got to give it a like, before you can even start that relationship of building trust, right? If somebody already thinks you're an a-hole, they're not going to trust you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a really hard road a hole upstream. But you got to build the rapport. Then you got to be able to show that trust through a length of time. And I think that's what business development does for us, is builds that trust with the community, because you can do a great ad and they like you instantly. They like that. But if you don't have things out there supporting, as I like to say that Dan says, that I like what Dan says, like, your actions, you still have to support your messages with the actions. Mm-hmm. And that's what's really important with marketing. So it does work in hand. I think you can do both. But I think to really power it through, especially at a company that's our size, we're not big, but we're big enough where we need to have people out there that can connect with people. And I think in the future more so, I'm always about helping other companies, and this is just my take on it, whether it's right or wrong, with AI coming, mm-hmm. and how you can see stuff on online, and AI. Somebody might be saying something and it's a trusted person, right? Mm-hmm. But that person doesn't say it. It's an AI thing that says it, and you're viewing it. I think it's going to go back to eventually, I need to touch, feel, and see it in person. Mm-hmm. If it's on the computer, it could be lying to me.
No, that's something I learned when I was in Dan's position as our marketing director and was working on more of the digital side. I learned how marketing goes, and I have a great respect for marketing as a whole, because it's very hard. And like you said, it is a lot more logistical than people. It is a lot more about numbers than people realize. It's not about design and all. That all matters, but it really comes down to numbers and how that's performing for you. But what I learned personally as a consumer is, after setting up, our own ads, going through all the different avenues and channels of how you can advertise online, I know what all of those look like now from being on the marketing side. When I'm looking for a service or a new company, or restaurant or store online, specifically for something new, I tend to filter through the sponsored advertisements or the ads that are placed in front of me. Every once in a while, if it's enticing enough, sure, we'll look at it. But after coming on that side, it's like, I appreciate advertisement, and there is a reason for it. I understand why it works. And if you're in a quick pinch, you can find an answer right away, or someone who has a lot of good reviews or whatever it may be. But I've come to the point where yes, I will still go through the advertisement, look through those, see if I find any viable choices, but I will also look through the organically find my own answers too. And the reason I do that is because I know from the marketing side, it's you can pay a certain amount of money to get your ad in front of a certain audience. And I'm sure all the companies that do that are great, but it's maybe I'm looking for something different. Maybe I am looking for a local company. I specifically want them to be rooted in Minnesota, or I'm looking for a different experience or just looking to support something different, then like I like to go and look and do my own research and due diligence and to say, okay, is the advertisement I saw for this company, is the rest of their company, does it seem like what Dan said, are their advertisements supported by actions? Like, can I see through Facebook or the rest of their website that, you know, the statements that they are branding are true, and that they will stick to their word in that. And so, I mean, it's just, I feel like I've my consumer lens has changed, and I feel like we're going to see that with AI, because AI, you know, now will be like, okay, here are the top 3 best Chinese restaurants in the area that you should try, but maybe there's a little hole in the wall place that doesn't have a website or isn't online, or they don't have the budget to advertise right now. Doesn't mean they're not as good, just means that, you know, they don't have the resources to do that right now, or that's not what their strategy is at this point. And doesn't mean there's not another great restaurant out there that I would love to go eat at. So I think it's just kind of just taking some of those with a grain of salt now, just seeing the other end of it. And it's not in a negative way by any means, because there's a power behind all of that. But I think also consumers want to be able to make their own informed decisions for themselves. They want the information of what is going to be best, but ultimately, like, people want to make their own decisions. So
yeah. Ooh, that's a lot of information that I dare Jess, but man, we're listening to a very good, smart person who's learning, who's done a lot of research in the last 4 or 5 years on marketing and brand ambassador and actually business development. So I'm very proud of that. With that, all that to digest, we're going to go to a break.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. Anoka Meals on Wheels, a nonprofit organization that I proudly support, delivers more than just nutritious meals to seniors in our community. They deliver connection, care, and peace of mind. Their volunteers don't just drop off food, they check in, share a smile, and ensure our neighbors know they're not forgotten. I know because I am one of those volunteer drivers. Help us keep serving those who need it most. Visit mowanoka.org to volunteer, donate, or learn more about Anoka Meals on Wheels, nourishing bodies and spirits one meal at a time. Ever walk into a house and flip a switch and have no idea what it actually does? Like, is it a light, an outlet, or something in the garage? Nobody knows. Or what about when you plug in something into an outlet and it just slowly falls out like it's giving up on life? Or worse, the outlet just doesn't work at all. Well, we see that stuff every day. At Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, we help homeowners take care of those small electrical issues before they turn into bigger problems. Loose outlets, dead plugs, mystery switches, we'll track it down, fix it right, and make your home actually work the way it's supposed to. So if something feels off electrically, it probably is. Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, built here, stays here. Feel the difference. If you're enjoying this episode, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. It helps us reach more amazing people across the Twin Cities and beyond. And if you're feeling a little extra generous today, drop us a rating or a review. It only takes a minute, but it makes a huge difference in helping new listeners discover Twin City Tales. That's how this community grows. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. It'd be great if you could hit subscribe on there. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Twin City Tales Podcast for behind the scenes moments, episode updates, and special announcement, and all the fun stuff you don't get to see on the mic. We appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And remember, you can't go wrong with Wymond Wong. And Grace, it's good to have you back. This is the portion of the show where I bring up some pictures. Some of you might remember, some of you won't.
Okay.
But, I had a lot to choose from because obviously your mom loves you so much that there's just box loads and truckloads of pictures in our collection. So I really love this one because, you know, the more I've grown, the more I'm embracing my culture And I never got a cultural picture like this when you were like that. That is so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't even remember that picture.
No.
It's you and a little Hanbok, and you must have been what, maybe 2-3 years old at the time.
I think I was less than 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful cute with that apple.
Yeah, I loved apple. I love apples.
You do. And here's another one of you and your mom, of you a little older. I just love that picture too.
Yeah.
It's such a great mom. Do you remember that picture?
Mom made that poncho. Yeah, I do remember that. Mom handmade that. That was when she first started getting into knitting, I think. That was, yeah, she made that for me. It's like a very multicolored poncho.
Yeah. I know she does a lot of that crafting with love because she's been crafting those pumpkin hats for all the new baby nieces or grandnieces and grandnephews.
Yeah.
And I love this one. It's you and Dan.
I like this one because he's smaller than me.
He is so much smaller. I think he was probably what, 6th grade at the time, maybe?
Probably 7th.
7th grade.
I was probably in 8th grade, maybe. Yeah.
I think that was Clear Lake, Iowa, when you guys were at is that? Yeah, that's Clear Lake, Iowa.
Yeah.
Lake.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty fun. And there's another cute one of you. And I think this was like only a few days when they got you.
Yeah, I think that was the first week that I was here.
Yeah. Because you were born in Korea, but your mom adopted you like pretty quickly. And I think you've been back to Korea.
Yeah. So my mom and then my dad Tom adopted me. I came over when I was 5 months old, and then I went back and visited Korea in between 4th and 5th grade with my mom and some friends, which was cool.
Do you remember much about that trip or?
I remember bits and pieces of that trip. I don't really remember like any of the more like culturally significant things. Like I remember the things like as a kid, like we did a lot of shopping and like food, and some of the like places that we went to stand out. But I feel like it was pretty early on, so I don't remember like exact details of everything.
Yeah. I just know like. For me, the culture I would love to get back at some time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because we look Asian, right? And we could fit right in somewhat. But I feel like I would never survive in China if I had to.
Yeah.
Like, and I even speak it, right? I can speak Cantonese, not at a great level. But yeah, it's pretty cool, though, having that culture. This picture, too, with Mickey. You and Mickey there. He's starting to age because I think I got another picture of you and Mickey. Here's this one. Maybe I didn't get another one, but I also but Mickey's getting older, so
yeah, he's got all gray hair now.
But this picture, I love this because you guys traveled to Hawaii, I believe.
Yeah. Well, because of you guys.
Well, we love you. But what do you remember most about that picture? And I think you were dating Connor.
Yep, we weren't engaged yet at that point. That was probably over. It's probably a year before we got engaged.
That's right. Because you guys went back to Hawaii to get engaged, or no, Cancun.
No, the original plan was for him to propose in Mexico. He ended up proposing when we went and visited our best friends Brian and Christine down in Florida.
Oh, that's right.
But then we ended up going to Cancun later that year anyway. We went on the trip. He just didn't propose then because he couldn't wait long enough. Hawaii was great. That's probably my favorite vacation that Connor and I have gone on. We've gone on. I mean, although it's not international, we've gone on 2 international trips, one of them being Hawaii, and then we've been Mexico 2 times as a family. And I think that was just a really cool experience for both of us. Neither of us had been there, and just, I honestly didn't really know what to expect going to Hawaii. I mean, I knew it was going to be beautiful, but it surpassed anything that I had expected. And so, I just remember I loved that trip. It was very relaxing and it was a really fun time.
That waterfall at North Shore was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And our place was right outside this beach. And so that we got to wake up to that every morning, which was cool.
On the North Shore. Gotta admit, I don't think I'd ever want to stay in Waikiki. We visited one day.
Yeah.
It's like New York City or Vegas.
Oh, it's busy.
Right?
Yeah. No, I loved kind of the countryside of Hawaii. It just felt very peaceful and calming and fun. Yeah.
And then the other one that I have for you is that one. You guys had the Cancun trip.
Yes, that was the Cancun trip. The only thing I will tell you, Chichen Itza is beautiful. I've been there a couple different times at this point. Only thing I remember about that picture specifically was that I was sweating from every inch of my body. I was so unbelievably warm outside. There is not an ounce of shade cover by Chichen Itza. And we went there. We, as a family, had already gone there, but we brought Connor because he had never seen it before. So no offense or anything, but I was kind of like over it at that point because we had been there before, and I was just drenched in sweat the entire time. But it was a really cool experience to see. It's just such a beautiful place, and yeah, that was our first really big trip that Connor and I went on as a couple.
Because you guys went on another international trip, but you guys went as a fan.
Yeah, we when we were 16, we were both nominated. We went to the same middle school, and so we were both nominated for this statewide ambassador program through band. So at the age of 16, him and I, we were not together, but as friends and collectively with another 60 or so kids, we went to Europe for 16 days. We did 7 countries, 16 days. We played in a bunch of public places. It was a very cool experience. But yeah, we weren't dating at that point, but we were very good friends. So we talk about that trip a lot.
But at that time, you weren't like saying, "That's the guy I'm going to marry."
I didn't know it at that point in time. No, definitely not.
Well, I think life is just so cool like that. You just don't know. The life just brings you to different journeys, and we are where we're always supposed to be. And that trip you guys went overseas to do the band thing.
Yeah.
It's a part of your journey. I think it's so cool.
It's cool. I mean, we didn't reconnect until 6 to 8 years after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that we talk about very frequently, and it is kind of special. We had that memory together before we started building a life together.
Yeah. Tell me a little more about Connor. What is it that makes him Connor, do you feel?
He's just the nicest, most caring guy I feel like that I could have ended up with. I mean, and I know those are kind of simple or, some of the more outdated terms that people use for their partners, but I mean, that's what comes to mind for me. Like specifically, I've kind of been going through some medical issues recently, nothing crazy serious, but, have been going through and trying to figure out some things about my body. And I feel like, during this whole process, and it's honestly been a process the entire time we've been dating, I've had these issues on and off. He's just so caring and just there for me. And he just tells me all the time that all he cares about is my well-being. And I feel the same about him. And I just couldn't have asked for someone, a better partner or husband to have. He just cares about me, and I think that's about taking care of me. And I just couldn't ask for a better guy.
I gotta admit, I have the same love for not the same love, but the love for him. Like, man, he is such a great young man. I mean, he works here too, and I'm not saying that because he works here, but he's got a great head on his shoulder. We actually knew it when we met him.
Yeah.
Your mom and I said he is a great guy for you. He's a sweet, and he's very caring. He's very responsible. And on top of that, he has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit of a throwback too, because I love talking music with him.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's an old soul for sure.
He is. Yeah. He is. Just a sweet man. I mean, he's a great guy.
No, I mean, I didn't have, I mean, and he was the only boyfriend that I introduced to you guys. And I was by no means scared about that.
Was he?
Yeah. You didn't want to meet in any of the other ones.
I don't remember. I'm just thinking, did we meet any other ones?
Yeah,
Now that I think about it, we haven't, have we?
It wasn't.
That.
It definitely wasn't worth your time. It wasn't worth mine either. But it's okay. You live and you learn.
That's fantastic. I love this picture with the yellow ducky in front of you. Do you remember that picture at all?
I don't.
I love the pose. You actually struck a fantastic pose there.
Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah.
That was your wedding day. What do you remember most about your wedding day? Or was it such a blur?
The wedding was a blur. It was a very long day. Yeah. As I'm someone who goes to bed early now because I'm an adult, it was one of the first times I had been up. We were up till like 4 a.m, and that I hadn't done in a long time. But no, it was just the most amazing day. I think, and this kind of ties back to me at work. I was thinking about this earlier before I came in. Like, I think something that was so special about our wedding is that aside from the venue, every one of the vendors or people who had a hand in helping with our wedding were people that we liked and trust, which is something I talked about on the business development side. I come from a very large family, which, gratefully lended me a lot of resources. I have a lot of aunties that helped out with the entire process, especially my Aunt Nancy, who was our wedding coordinator, which she had done as a career, so that was incredibly helpful. But on top of having a large family and just having a large community and network, we were able to acquire all of our vendors. They were all either friends or family of ours, and we did that not because of pricing or anything like that, but because we knew that we could trust them with the most important day in our lives and quite frankly, the most expensive one. I think that's something I think about in my role is like, I chose to work with people that I liked and trust because I knew that they would take care of us and make this the most special day for us. And I just keep that top of mind when I'm out and work because I'm assuming that most consumers are the same as well. And I think, that was something that was just so special about us. Like I looked around that entire room and there was really no strangers whatsoever. The DJ, our DJ who did have to fall out, he was a friend of mine and we were supposed to have one of Dan's oldest friends here. My family was behind the scenes. Our photographer, videographer was a really good friend of mine. It was just all, it was an all really special day. On top of it, already just being an amazing day, it made it more special that all the people that we love so much were the ones that helped us put this all together.
I'm going to tell you one of my favorite memories, and there was a few memories of that wedding, but I remember at the beginning, everybody, the wedding procession came out, and your mom was going to walk you down the aisle, and I remember the music was playing for a long time. And we're looking around, like everybody had already lined up in front. And it took a little bit, like longer than normal before you came out. I wish I would have timed it, but I remember looking back and then people were like looking at me going, "You're sitting up front. You know what's going on?" And finally you came out, but it was a beautiful moment. You looked great. But I think I asked you about that after the wedding. And you are, I wouldn't say a perfectionist, but there's certain things that you like. And I remember you told me you had to wait for the right timing of the song to
it was there. I was very particular about certain aspects of our wedding, one of them being that I chose all of the music. Very particularly, I took my time doing that. Like we talked about earlier, music is a huge passion of mine and something that really drives me in my life. And so I wanted the songs that were being played to be really powerful, and I really wanted them to be from artists that meant a lot to me. And so, yes, I picked a song that, and in picking it, I did actually time out the pause in between. And I talked to a couple people. I talked to my videographer and I talked to my wedding coordinator. I was like, is this too much? Is this too much? And they're like, no, do what you want to do. Just do it. And so I was like, you know what? This song really feels powerful and moving to me. And I wanted it that musical timing right, and I mean they did a perfect job with it. And then the icing on the top of the cake was a very good friend of mine who is someone that I've gone to a lot of concerts with. We don't necessarily have similar music tastes, but still very different. But he came up to me, I don't know if it was at the wedding or later on in the wedding, because I see him pretty frequently, and he says, I knew exactly what you were doing. I heard the music. I heard you come out, and that was the coolest timing I've ever seen. And I said, you know what? That was the only comment I needed about that, because I knew someone in this crowd would understand what I was doing with that ambiance and what the moment that I wanted to portray. And he got it, and he came up and told me, and I was like, yes, someone got it, because I knew people were like, this is weird, this is a little long, did she run, where is she?
Exactly, it was the suspense.
But yeah, no, but and he came up to me and he was like, I got it. And I was like, you know what, that's all I needed to hear, because that was the moment that I wanted to deliver in that. So
but that was beautiful, because I understand that now. And it's just one of those things where in the moment you're like, ooh. But guess what? You know what you did, though? You made it a very memorable moment, even for me, right? Because, like, I remember that was one of my biggest part of remember that, like, is she coming or is she not? You know, the suspense. Yeah. But it happened. So, but that's what the beauty of it was, right? Yeah. I had that moment now to talk about it forever.
Yeah. And Connor knows it was not by any means a mistake. It was very planned out. Right. I was not, waiting back there, but
it was
contemplating.
I knew I knew at the end you weren't. I just once you told me that's so freaking cool. That's why I always remember it, right?
Yeah.
I've got 2 questions for you. Dan's going to go, wow, you're taking a little longer. If you can go back in moment of time and see that young girl again and walk up to her and say, hey, I got some advice for you on what I know now, what would you tell her?
I would just tell her to be easy on herself. I know that my biggest critic is myself. That's been a struggle for me for a long time. And in a lot of aspects, especially in my early 20s, I was struggling with a lot of mental health issues, and just some other things. And I think if I would have gone back in time, I would have just told my younger self, just, be easy on yourself. And God, people always say this to me, but you got to give yourself some grace, and just let yourself experience things, and know that you'll come out on the other side, and you'll figure it out, whether it goes the way that you thought it was going to go, or if it goes in a different direction, you're going to figure out. And just be gentle on yourself, because I think being a young adult is really hard, trying to find your way in the world and navigating, especially, after high school, whether you're going to college or just going off to live on your own or going to live somewhere new, just there's new experiences in a new world that you're experiencing. And so you just have to be gentle on yourself when you do make mistakes, or, I made a lot of decisions that the person I am today, I wouldn't choose to make those again. But, I really try hard, and it's something I actively have to do almost every second of every day, but I have to try not to judge myself or put myself down for those past decisions I've made, because whether they were right or wrong in the moment, it did lead me to where I am today. And, I still have a good head on my shoulders, and I feel like, even when days are tough, it's like, you still endure. So, I just be easy on yourself. And
you have so many good gifts around you.
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing about it. I got a second part to that question. It was because you are our brand ambassador. If someone meets you for the first time, what do you want them to remember about you?
I just want them to remember me as a resource. And I hope you don't take this in a bad way, but not necessarily even for Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, but how can Grace help you? When you have an issue of like, I'm hoping to connect with this person, or I'm hoping to learn more about this, or I'm hoping to get into this space, like, I hope that you think of, hey, maybe Grace can help me with that, because that's what I want to be for my referral partners, for my community, for our clients of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric. I want to be a resource for them, and not just for their heating, air, electrical, water treatment, or basic mechanical needs. If they need a really good estate planner or a florist. Like, I meet so many people, so many great people that do great things out networking from so many different avenues of the world. And I'd love to be able to spread the word about them and also help you in the meantime. So I hope that, that you remember me as a friendly face and someone who's willing to help when you need it.
Wow. Good stuff there. I am so blessed to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And even in the family and in our workplace and just as a daughter. I forgot to bring this up because I love Connor as our son-in-law. I actually was just out this past weekend with his mom and dad, Tom and Laura. I used to say this joke all the time, and I can't use this joke anymore, but you know what the difference between in-laws and outlaws are? Outlaws are wanted. But I can't use that because I love the Lovdahls.
You can't not love the Lovdahls.
No, and man, I really appreciate you being on the show. Before you go, I've got a couple things for you.
Oh.
Probably not as, you're probably going to go, but you get one of these as like everybody gets as usual.
Oh, cool.
But this one's different. This one actually has world's greatest stepdaughter on there.
Oh, that's so cool. I like it.
And then, Dad might not like this, but...
Ooh.
And hopefully
then I'll like it.
You'll like it. Because I know every time I'm giving you the tickets for the next playoff game because we're in. And I think you should take Dan.
Oh, I'll take Dan. Why not?
But it's only if they advance too, so it might have to be an IOU for next game.
Okay, well, go Wolves.
You can even inherit that because that's my season ticket little badge that they give me for having season tickets. So
that's so cool.
And then the tickets for the game. So yeah, it'll be fun. I think let's go Wolves, right?
Yeah, Wolves back. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say I'm very proud to be an employee of this company. I think everything that we're doing here is amazing. I'm so grateful to be working for a company, but even more so, I'm proud to be your daughter. I get to hear all day, every day, how much people love you and how much of an impact that you get to make in this community, and that you're willing to make in this community. Not get to make, but you're willing to make an amazing contribution in this community. I hear it everywhere from people I know, and random people walk up to me in meetings and, Wymond, he's a really great guy. He's the best guy that I know. So you should be really proud of yourself and everything that you're doing.
I am, but I'm a little bit more embarrassed, or not embarrassed, but just I'm blushing a little bit because yes, thank you. I'm so proud. And yes, I appreciate those kind words. If you want to learn more about Grace, you can also look her up on Facebook. She'll be on some Twin City Tales pages. And she actually does a lot of our posting for our Twin City Heating and Air page and Twin City Electric page. You can visit her there like her on Facebook, or visit us at Twin City Tales Facebook page, and we'll post something there. And as we roll out of here, I can't thank you enough to Chris Hockey for his new song, Thanks, with no pun intended. And this podcast is powered by Twin City Heating and Electric. And until the next show, remember, you can't go wrong with Wymond Wong and Twin City Tales Podcast.
This song goes out to my family.